Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Shiny Soup Podcast. This is our very first episode. Hopefully, it turns out a little bit more like a first edition Charizard and not a first edition Rattata, but we'll see how things go. Anybody who's seen videos on this channel before, you've seen these two lovely people opening packs for you and just having all of their cute little couples antics. I'm here to ruin the cute couples dynamic just a little bit with this space. My name is Jeremy, and I will be the host for this podcast with these two lovely people. Kyle, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about your relationship with Pokemon, when you got into it, and when you started playing the cards, video games.
Yeah, so I've been in Pokemon knee deep forever, really. One of my first video games I ever played was Pokemon Yellow. I've been collecting cards as long as my brothers have. I inherited most of their Pokemon collection, and so I'm one of the lucky few that really never got out of the game. So I have all this great collection that I'm really proud of from the childhood and my brother's childhood. So we got that going on. But yeah, I've just been in Pokemon for forever. I fell out of it a little bit when Black and White came around, X and Y era, but quickly got back in right after that. So and it was more of like a high school, like, oh man, maybe I should play, but no, I should be doing other cooler things right now. But that didn't last long because immediately after high school I went back to my old ways. So yeah,
it kind of gets into your blood and you never quite get it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
What about you, Brecklin? When did you start getting into Pokemon?
It's a year ago.
A year ago.
Sick. I am brand new to all of this. Well, I guess not necessarily brand new if it's been a year, but it's fairly new to me still. My only exposure to Pokemon before then was I saw kids at the playground when I was in elementary school trading cards, and I'd be like, what are they doing?
Jealous.
Yeah.
I did watch the show when I was younger.
Oh, the anime?
Yeah.
I did. I watched it and I actually really liked it. My brothers would watch that and Yu-Gi-Oh, and I always liked Pokemon better than Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's a wise choice.
Yeah.
I mean, the Yu-Gi-Oh anime has its benefits. Like, you kind of always know what's happening, so you can do something else while it's on.
Yeah.
And you can just be like, they're still having a card battle. Great.
Yeah. That is cool with me.
So I got into Pokemon. I was actually 10. I'm a little bit older than you guys are. I was actually 10 when the first games came out in America.
Nice.
So I was it was, about a 10-year-old kid, and it was just like, here, 10-year-old child, have this. So I've been into it since day one. I even still have the original Machamp card that I had from the starter deck when the TCG came out. I'm not as good at keeping older stuff like you are, so I don't have a lot of the older cards like I used to. But I've been into it since day one as well, and it's kind of cool to have a little bit of a perspective from a newer person in the franchise as well, because
heck yeah,
it's in my blood, it's in Kyle's blood, so it's cool to have a little bit of fresh perspective there too.
It's always because that perspective constantly catches me off guard when just even when we're opening packs, it's just like she'll think of things that in a way that I don't think of them as far as deck composition goes. And it's also really humbling when we build gym leader challenge decks and she's like, oh, I like this Pokemon, this Pokemon, this Pokemon, this Pokemon. And what are you playing? Oh, I'm playing my really well thought out Lucario deck. Oh, okay, let's play. And then I get my butt handed to me. So it's just like it really humbles you, and it's just so much fun.
It seems like Gym Challenge is kind of the format where that sort of thing is really viable, though.
Yeah,
where you can kind of just make crazy combinations and they work.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite Pokemon?
Oh yeah, Lucario. Like I just said, mine. Like easy. So.
What about you, Brecklin? Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Pikachu.
Oh man.
Basic.
So
I know, so basic.
Welcome to the Basic Energy Podcast.
I can tell you that I used to have a sort of really, really love-hate relationship with Pikachu because obviously he's the face of the franchise. It's unavoidable to have Pokemon products and not have a ton of Pikachu in your face.
Totally.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I really didn't like him. But then, kind of as I got older, I kind of came back around to really, I do enjoy the Pikachu. Like the design's really good. It's a great face for Pokemon because it's so gender neutral.
It's like, how can you be upset by someone that loves Disney liking Mickey Mouse? It's one and the same. Everyone, it's like you have to love Pikachu.
Especially if like your only like exposure to Pokemon early on is the anime.
Yeah.
That would definitely be, I definitely see why Pikachu's your favorite.
Yeah.
So,
but then you have other favorites that aren't like honestly, like, that aren't everyone else's favorites, and I think that's rad. Like, you love Dreadnought, like you love Lunala, which I feel like are both like,
I love.
Oh
Lunala.
Man, those are kind of hot takes, dude.
Lunala is a very cool design. Actually, I really like that one too. And Dreadnought that's an interesting one. I don't think I've ever heard that one. So maybe one day he'll get a really
on our
good
banner. Dreadnought, Psyduck riding Dreadnought. Like, we have our like team of 6 between my favorite 3 and her favorite 3 on our banner for the YouTube channel. So
I saw that. It's I like some of the choices, and I like that. So for me, I'm always picking my favorite based on its final evolution.
Oh yeah,
and I like that. So, you guys have some first stage Pokemon as well in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for sure.
Because for me, it's like Gallade and Gardevoir are my absolute favorites.
Yeah.
But I would never like put Ralts on a banner. It would always be Gardevoir or Gallade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, it's like Psyduck, like he's my jam, So Lucario and Psyduck go back and forth all the time between like my actual favorite, but
it can change pretty frequently. But those like Gardevoir and Gallade, the whole Ralts line has been the most consistent over time.
Yeah.
And of course, my boy Bulbasaur here. But
there you go.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the TCG specifically. Do you guys have any favorite cards?
Ooh, like of all time? No.
I mean, of all time or modern.
Okay. I think my personal favorite is oh man, because I was gonna say one, but then immediately a couple others jumped in my brain. I really like the shiny Lucario from Hidden Fates, the GX.
Mm-hmm.
That one's one of my favorites. But I would have to say, like, nostalgia value and just the fact that I've had the card so long is my Diamond and Pearl Lucario. I used to sleep with that thing like on my nightstand next to my bed. It's in terrible condition now, but that one. But I would say one of those definitely my favorites. I have an Umbreon Prime that I hold pretty in high regard. But then honestly, like, we have some modern ones that kind of blow me away too. Like our Beauty looking back. Like that is one of my favorite cards. So
like modern Pokemon card design, it's hard not to have those as most of your favorites because they're just so good.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And if I'm maybe there's a hot take, but art with Pokemon only gets better because you look back at like the Wizards of the Coast era, I'm like, that's nostalgic, but like kind of basic,
and the different artists really bring new perspectives to it too.
Oh yeah.
So I can like one Pokemon and then see it in a different card and be like, I'm not so sure about that. Or I can feel the reverse. I can say, I'm not sure how I feel about that Pokemon, and then see it in a different art style and be like, wow, that's actually really cool.
Like, and I like how you talked about like the different artists too, because if we're going off of like modern stuff that is brought on with a new flavor, like look at the reveal of Lucario V-Star, that the alt art that we're getting in Crown Zenith.
Ooh, beautiful.
Like honestly, that might be my favorite art in a card ever. And I love Akira Igawa, which is not the artist of that card, but they also did a Lucario. So it's just like, oh my gosh, like what is my favorite? They did the Champions Path Lucario. And that's one of my favorites. So
I actually think that my favorite card of all time is a modern card. And it's actually just the alt art single strike Urshifu.
Oh, that's a good one. That's where they're both like punching the.
I love that artist rare. So cool.
Yeah.
I just think that the artist gallery, the trainer gallery, has made opening every modern Pokemon set so much cooler.
Oh yeah. If they don't keep some vein of like the alternate trainer art into like, I know they said like this next set's going to bring the trainer gallery to a close, but like they can call it something else in the
I hope not,
generation, because we had it in Cosmic Eclipse. Like even if it's something that just like wraps up a generation, like maybe the last few sets have it, please don't get rid of it, because that is like some of the most peak art Pokemon has ever had.
Seriously.
I think one thing that Pokemon's done to make their TCG, in my opinion, a little bit cooler looking, a little more attractive than other games, is that they've increased how the art looks on the card in terms of like how much space it actually takes up.
Yep.
Magic really has never really changed, and so even if it's really big, beautiful art, there's still only like a small window to see it through.
True. Yeah, and like even when they do their full arts, like the portion that is actually like the character is still going to be in that. Like it's like almost like the fan made cards where they take the card and then they just paint over the rest of it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like Magic just does that. They don't like there's a couple cards. I'm not gonna I'll be remiss if I don't mention it, but like Strixhaven's like I forget what they call it, but their side event, they had some beautiful cards. Like the Demonic Tutor was just absolutely gorgeous. So I have
they do have some good cards
right now. So
they do have some really great cards for sure. But I think
Pokemon is like so consistent with it.
Yeah, they've really taken it to another level in terms of like making sure the art is really well presented on their cards.
Yep.
And their cards are like bright and vibrant. So I love that. So my favorite card of all time is of course the Generation 1 Machamp. I used to be a gym leader when I was a kid with that card, and it'll still always be my favorite. I still collect Machamps to this day because of it. But you can definitely tell a difference between like how good that card was, in terms of its actual artistry to anything we see now. Basically, it's just a huge leap.
Absolutely, and also like backgrounds. Back then, it was just like swirls in the background, like generic like colors. But now that art is the Pokemon in the environment that Pokemon. I know it's like we shouldn't be talking about Charizard because we're not all Charizard fans here, but the new Radiant Charizard that's coming out in the next set, like genuinely some of the best looking art I've seen. And it's because it's like, oh, you took a fire Pokemon and put him in a snow environment. That's going to have some really beautiful contrast going on. So
for sure. Yeah. I mean, you can't talk about the Pokemon TCG without mentioning Charizard and how influential it is in making the popularity of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
My controversial opinions of Charizard will be well known throughout this podcast, but there's no denying that his cards sell sets.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like, we've talked about this in person, but it's just like it does get like that where it just feels like, oh my gosh, another Charizard. Please let's get something else. Let's get a Blastoise Altart. Let's get a Venusaur that's not in the background of Charizard's card. Like
let's get a Lunala.
Yeah. The amount of time she's asked for Lunala or a Zekrom Altart, like
been a pretty good long time since we've seen a Lunala or Solgaleo card. So
right. I mean, we saw the Zekrom that you really liked in Brilliant Stars, right?
That's a good one. Yeah,
that was a great one.
It wasn't
with him and N.
Right.
Gallery.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't. It wasn't the chase. It has to be the. Oh yeah.
It doesn't have to be the chase, but I would like some variety.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Some part of me wants the chase too. Like, part of me when the Lucario V-Star Altart was announced, I'm like, oh, sick. That's gonna be great. And then when it was like shown off to be in the Elite Trainer Box, I'm like, that's awesome. I can get it like for no chase at all. I can just have the card. And then I'm like, oh, but that like kind of diminishes its value. Like not that I'm concerned about the dollar value, but like even like emotional value. Like I want the chase,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool when the Pokemon that you like happens to be in a highly sought after or valuable card.
Yeah, right.
Because it kind of puts a little bit more spotlight on that Pokemon.
That's why I'm like super glad that Lucario gets paired with Cynthia a lot, because the Cynthia full art with her shiny Garchomp and shiny Lucario on there, I have that card too.
Yeah,
that's a very freaking great card. Just saying.
I think that's one of the reasons that Gardevoir continues to sort of be one of my top favorites, is because I really like Halucha as well, but Halucha gets a lot of cards made, but he's never really like a feature or like a really powerful card.
Yeah.
God of War.
We get like a Radiant Hawlucha, and we're all like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, yeah. As limited use as that is, unfortunately,
Right.
I've
tried to make it work. You've played against it. It sucks.
The problem with the Radiant Hawlucha is that it's so specific to VMAXs.
Yeah.
If it was just V Pokemon,
yeah, and it came out when V Stars came out, so it's just like,
yeah. Why VMAX?
Why?
Like it comes out at a time when there's like basically 2 VMAX cards you're looking to fight, if that.
Yeah. Because even now the VMAX cards that come out, like I'm seeing a lot of people pick up Regieleki as far as interest levels go, but like I haven't seen anything else recently. Kyurem VMAX got a lot of play at regionals. That was something, but like other than that, it's also just because they're not releasing as many VMAXs anymore. But
Kyurem, Mew, and possibly Regieleki.
Yeah,
or like a Machamp if you're playing against me. About the only 4 you're going to see.
You're playing against
Deoxys. Yeah.
I guess the Deoxys, I have seen a few deck profiles online with them as well. So maybe has some niche use, but definitely not enough to include over, say, like a Gardevoir or the Greninja, which the Pokemon company that the TCG side loves Greninja.
Oh yeah.
Like if you love Greninja, you are very happy with almost every generation.
And I can't remember who said this, but somebody that works at the Pokemon Company International even like came out and said like the reason you get so many Darkrai cards is because I love Darkrai. And I wish I knew the exact quote and where it was said, but that's a thing. Like if someone that helps design the game loves a Pokemon, you're going to see that Pokemon a lot. So
and I feel like a lot of the Pokemon that I like do get seen a lot. Like I said, just some of them aren't necessarily the high profile cards.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of Hawluchas, and basically since X and Y, there's been tons of Hawluchas.
Yeah,
but it's very hard pressing to find one that will ever go into a deck for any reason.
Yeah, I have a theory on that too. I think just because Pokemon is primarily a Japanese company, wrestling, is huge there. It's huge here. So something that we have in common is we love wrestling Pokemon. So Hawlucha and Incineroar, like Machamp, they're always going to get cards because it's like a common ground,
and as a big wrestling fan myself, that's probably a lot of the reason why I like Machamp.
Same.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the big topic of the day for a minute. So we're going to switch to video games for just a second and talk about, as spoiler-free as we can, what's been revealed so far and how you're feeling about the new video game, Scarlet and Violet. Ooh. Are you guys going to be getting them?
Oh, yeah. We have it pre-ordered. We got the double pack. We're set.
So have you guys seen many of the leaks? Are you trying to avoid them?
I'm trying to avoid them.
I'm letting them naturally occur. I'm not like going out and seeking them. Like there were actually, with the exception of one that I was like, I got to know, and we talked about this, Jeremy. Like I was hoping to find some sort of like alternate form of Lucario, but I haven't found him yet. So other than that, I'm just like totally cool with letting leaks. I'm not going to be offended if I see it on my YouTube timeline or whatever,
I'm gonna try not to spoil too much for everybody, but I mean I'm a huge leak addict, unfortunately. Any news that comes out, I'm on top of it immediately. So I'm really excited about these games. I think a lot of the designs are very, very cool.
Yeah. For me, it kind of like changes from game to game too. I want to ask you about how you do it, because like you posed yourself as a leak addict. Like Sword and Shield, I wanted to know every leak because like I was already mixed on whether I was going to be super excited about that game. Just with the early trailers weren't super promising. Ended up being one of my favorite Pokemon games, by the way. But then with Legends Arceus, I was like, I don't want to hear anything. Like I want to be surprised on everything. But now I'm like somewhere in the middle where I'm like, just let him come, So I wonder what, like, does it take away your enjoyment? Or does it like add to your enjoyment at all?
I like having a plan going into the games. Like I like knowing these are the Pokemon I want for my team. Knowing how they're going to evolve and how I can like sort of min-max my Pokemon's levels and stuff like that. So I like going in with a plan, and as opposed to like being surprised. But I know a lot of people enjoy being surprised a lot more.
Yeah. There is something, and that's I think why I like don't want to find out everything, is because like there's something about just, especially now with the new games, like seeing a Pokemon out in the overworld and encountering it for the first time. Like Arceus was masterful at that, just like seeing a new form of a Pokemon you hadn't seen before and just I gotta go. I gotta go. Like I gotta go touch that thing.
Yeah, well, like being in the game and actually seeing the way that the Pokemon moves can definitely change your opinion of it really quickly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Do you guys have a choice in starter lined up?
100%. 100%. Quaxley all day, baby.
Quaxley?
Quaxley's my man. And I have seen his final evolution and I love him more now. I'm just saying, like I'm not gonna go into any detail, but I saw him on a picture and I got really hesitant. I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like that. But then I found a one where the Pokemon is like in motion. I'm like, that is my kind of Pokemon.
Yeah, you sent me that video, and I do like seeing the way that they move.
Yep.
That definitely does help to bring character to them.
Yeah, and it like I should say that because that's more of a spoiler, but like just like seeing how they're integrating the culture of like totally not Spain,
Right.
like into these Pokemon, like seeing Spanish culture like exude in these Pokemon, like it's spicy, man. It's a spicy meatball. Wait, I'm gonna get canceled. I'm gonna get canceled.
I'm very salty right now that, and this isn't a huge leak, but I'm very salty right now that Halucha is not in this game.
Oh,
like why? It's just like how Bellossom wasn't in Alola.
Oh, right. Makes total sense.
What?
Yeah. I wonder if we're gonna get like a Crown Tundra and Isle of Armor thing with this game.
That'll so it's not too much of a spoiler to say that that's been soft confirmed.
Yeah. I've seen that too. But what I hope is that like those Pokedexes like get added on to because they got time. You know, because we'll get the game this year and then we'll get DLC next fall and then another DLC the January after probably. You know.
Yeah. So I'm not a Brexit person, or a Dexit person.
Oh yeah.
In so much that like when there's some Pokemon not in the game, I don't really care.
Right.
No one's ever going to need Bruxish for any reason.
Right. Why is anyone going to leave the game over Klefki? You know.
Hey now. He's also not in the game, but I'm okay with that. Halucha hasn't been in a game since Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
And that sucks because he's a great Pokemon. So your starter's Quaxley. I'm going to go with Sprigatito.
Oh, nice.
I was kind of between Quaxley and Sprigatito the whole time. I found out, the typings, sort of light spoilers here, but the typings of what Quaxley was going to become, and I really loved one of his typings. And so I was thinking that's the way it's going to go, but then I saw the designs, and Sprigatito's final evolution reminds me a lot of other Pokemon I really like.
I can see why, yeah.
It's a very sort of Gardevoir, Delphox look to it, and I really love both of those Pokemon. So that it was just like, well, I guess I have to go with that then.
Yeah. That means you got to go with Fuecoco.
Actually, I am kind of leaning that direction anyway.
Yeah. You guys have a lot in common.
Yep. Next episode we'll go a little bit more into depth into Scarlet and Violet and sort of early impressions of the game and playing it. So hey, you pick Fuecoco, we can all have different starters and get a little bit of a different experience there. So.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Mean, you're both wearing red.
There you go.
Like you both like to eat.
Who doesn't like to eat?
I know. I was just trying to be generic at that point. Save my skin. Here, Kyle. I'll throw the shovel away.
already putting yourself on the couch on episode 1 of the show. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to the TCG part of the show. Obviously, Silver Tempest comes out the day after recording this episode. I mean, it kind of came out on Monday. A lot of us got a hold of the product on Monday, and I know you guys have already opened a case, probably a lot more as well.
More than a case.
Yeah.
We've opened at this point for ourselves. We've opened up over 300 boosters, and it's sickening. I'm not gonna lie. We just want to finish this. We want to master this set so bad.
I mean, good luck. I've seen a bunch of YouTubers pull like 2,000 plus boosters.
Yeah.
And not get a full set.
So. I pulled the Lugia V Alt Art today.
Oh, you did?
But I didn't pull it at the same time.
I
opened a box for the shop.
Oh,
and the shop pulled it.
oh.
It was just like it
That
was
hurts.
like Jeremy. When I say Satan tempted me in that moment,
You're just like, do I need to be honest about when I pulled this?
I could just take this home. No one will know.
I would definitely have that voice in my head as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
You're a stronger person than me. I don't know that.
No,
I
I
wouldn't-
holding that. I was still shaking. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
yeah, very cool.
Sent me
Yeah.
a picture of it and was like, so this happened.
Yeah.
Oh, you had a mini freak at work.
So yeah, but freaking your brother, her
my
brother,
gosh.
opens up one booster box
One.
and gets both the Skuntank and the Lugia V Alt Art.
What?
And the Reggie, not the well, he did go open a Reggie Drago V Star regular, but and the oh
Where's
gosh,
Lucky?
no, the gold card Rayquaza and what's the other one that's gold in this set?
Oh,
Duraludon?
Duraludon,
Duraludon.
thank you. I was like drawing a blank there, but yeah, he opened up the Duraludon gold and he opened up a secret rare trainer, a rainbow trainer.
Rainbow, yeah.
Yeah, and so like his box was just like the same as our case, and I was really pissed.
Wow. Yeah.
I got in the car and I'm like, I'm gonna kill your brother.
No, that's insane to pull both of those alt arts in the same box.
I know, right?
Same
When I don't pull a single alt art in my case that I should be getting like Saturday, I'm gonna blame him because I think he took them all.
Yes, yeah,
Right.
totally different. Yeah. But you better do us good. You better open up something like a good alt.
Oh man, I hope
Unknown.
so.
I have not seen any. Well, no, Bobby opened
Bobby
up the unknown, but
Yeah.
like he's the only one I've seen. I've seen 3 Lugias pulled now out of our shop, and then just the one unknown, tons of Skuntanks, and 1 Reggie Drago.
Yeah, I've seen relatively few of those pulled as well.
Yeah.
So overall, in your guys' thoughts on the set, where would you put this in terms of compared to the other Sword and Shield sets?
Oh, okay. Because you're asking for my true opinion on what you're not like. What people are going to take from this is going to not be like just what we think of Silver Tempest, but we got to be honest. People are going to be like, all right, this versus Evolving Skies. Let's cut to the chase. Like, where does this stand? I think it's personally equal with Evolving Skies right now. Evolving Skies has some amazing alternate artworks, and I cannot discount the fact that I love the Rayquaza in that set. I love the Umbreon VMAX. But honestly, my favorite cards out of Evolving Skies were like the lower tier, like the regular Umbreon V, where he's like looking over all the other Pokemon.
Yeah,
that was way better in my opinion. Even just like the regular Umbreon VMAX, I really liked. My favorite artist though, so I would say it's about there. But honestly, still my favorite set in all of Sword and Shield is Chilling Reign.
Yeah, Chilling Reign's a great choice. It's really solid set.
Yeah.
I think people were so excited about Shadow Rider that they really underestimated Ice Rider in that set.
Yeah,
and how good that card was.
And I think it had a lot of great cards that I enjoy playing with, but also the art. Like just all around, like all the alternate arts were bangers in that set.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we take that away, the art and collectability out of it, if we go straight to playability, Battle Styles is my favorite.
Yeah,
added so
That's
many.
actually my favorite modern set.
Yeah, it added so many key trainer cards that I still play with. So
when I feel like the single strike and rapid strike dynamic was a really cool mechanic that they did, and kind of didn't get explored as much as I wanted it to.
Right. No, I was super hesitant before that came out. I'm like, they've done this thing before, like Team Plasma, Team Aqua. They've done these like allegiance Pokemon cards where it's like you have to be in that certain build type. I was super nervous about that, but then how they executed it between rapid and single strike really made me happy. And then just they went away, and then they came back with Fusion Strike, and that went away even faster. So they added too much support out of the game.
I don't think that there was. Yeah, I think they could have explored that for a few more sets. Like even into these V-Star sets, they could have just thrown a few, rapid strike, single strike in there, and they didn't. Battle Styles would be my favorite modern set. Brecklin, what you've opened, what's your favorite set?
You've opened everything since. What was the first set you opened?
First set I actually got into was was not even really a set. It was celebrations.
Right. Yeah,
and then the first big one that we were like really into was Brilliant Stars.
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably my favorite. I loved the trainer galleries that they released in that set.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that besides that, I think that this set probably comes next for me. I really like this set.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm still more excited for Crown Zenith than I am right now for Silver Tempest.
And that's largely why we're going so hard on the we're trying to hustle and trade everything now for Silver Tempest.
Yeah.
Is because when Crown Zenith comes out, oh dude, it's over for us. Like it's not gonna be a healthy time. There will be addiction problems coming to light.
Yeah, we're gonna be.
It's a good thing that you have a job that helps support this habit for you.
True. Yeah. Full disclosure: if I didn't,
you work at places to help support that habit.
Yeah. If I didn't have the job I have at the game store, like we would not be in the position we are to collect and trade. Even if I take my part of what I get is shop cash, right? So like that's like part of my incentive to work there. Even if we took that away, the amount of people I encounter every day that are wanting to trade, there's the amount of connections I'm able to form to, oh, Kyle's looking for that card. Oh, I'll tell him, like makes it I'm gonna be honest. It makes it way easier than the average person. We're incredibly fortunate because of it. We completed Brilliant Stars within like 2 weeks because we wanted it that bad, So
community really does a lot for how well you can complete sets or even just trade for cards that you want. It really does come down to having a shop, even if you're not like an employee at a shop, just having it like a home base where you can go and play and trade and make friends. I wouldn't have.
We have a really great community.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, we have a really great community at the shop that we frequent. A lot of people, we know each other. We kind of know what this person's really wanting this card, so I can get it for them, thing. So that definitely helps.
Yeah.
So I would put Silver Tempest in my top 2 of the modern sets. I mean, Battle Style is still my favorite, but I actually think Silver Tempest is definitely my favorite V-Star set.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if we're making that distinction, I would say I agree. Yeah, if we're going like
it's the best V-Star set, even though I actually really like the V-Star block in general. Yeah.
No, it's great.
The V-Star block in general has been really cool, though.
Yep.
I like
the artist rares and the Radiance have been made packs just fun to open again.
That's another thing, Sure. Just like being able to open up 2 hits in a pack feels really good. It happens fairly regularly. Getting a Radiant and then also getting a V. Like you can't be mad at that because it's like even if they're both like low tier, it's like, well, I got 2 of them in one pack, So
yeah. And the fact that you can get Radiance and artist rares out of, because you can cheat and look at the code cards and know kind of whether you're getting something good or not.
Right.
But those things generally come in the packs that aren't, they can come in the packs that have the code card that says you're not getting anything good.
Right.
So it kind of makes that a little bit more of an adventure.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, so Silver Tempest is a great set. We're going to go ahead and I asked you guys both to prepare top 5 lists of your favorite cards. So we'll just why don't one of you go ahead and share your 5 favorite cards and why you like them so much.
Why don't you go ahead first?
Okay, so I think that I'm pretty sure we're gonna share this card, you and me, Jeremy. I love the God of War line. I seriously it's like so good.
Yeah,
and I play a lot of psychic decks. That's kind of like where I've kind of found my niche. I love psychic decks. I have a lot of them. And the God of War is just gonna take them up a notch.
Yeah.
that refinement of being able to look at two cards and being able to draw. And then if you have more than just one Gardevoir, you're doing even more.
Yeah.
You can get your game going so fast if you could get that Gardevoir out. So I love the Gardevoir, not just because that trainer gallery card for the Gardevoir is sick.
It's really beautiful, good. Yeah.
I love it so much, but I also really love it because of the playability. So that's probably, I put that as my number one.
Yeah.
I put Ho as second.
Merry Christmas.
First of all, I think that the regular V is just an awesome card.
Kirigawa, baby, let's go.
It's very pretty.
It's very pretty. I love the colors. I love the style. I think it's really pretty. And I also think the attack is pretty dang sick too.
Yeah.
Taking it down to 100. I can't think of it off
well, it's for every basic energy you have, right. You do more damage.
But then the ability you can, if you get knocked out,
or no, if it's in your
discard, you don't even have to get knocked out. If it's in your discard pile, you automatically bring it onto your bench.
Yep.
And attach 4 energy cards to it, which is all that he needs.
To
get rolling.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's always had like a rebirth type mechanic to him.
Yeah.
And it's always really cool.
Like the Ho EX.
Yeah. So this is actually kind of just a bit of a modern reskin of an older Ho card.
It's better and worse, right? Like it attaches everything you need. The damage is greater, and so it's better, but also it ends your turn, so it's also worse. So
right. There is a lot of discard in this sort of standard format, though.
Yeah.
So you can get like Ho-Oh and 4 energy in your discard by turn 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just draw into them. Professor's research.
Purple, ultra balls or quick balls or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here's my number 2. I love, so number 3, I love the Pikachu Dedenne and Togedemaru.
Togedemaru. Yeah.
Togedemaru. I love their sequencing attacks. I think that's pretty cool. First of all, their art showcases like each of them. Their art. And I love that because I love Pikachu. But I played against a deck that was actually, those were the stars of the show. And it's a pretty good sequence. There's some like bugs that you have to get worked out to make it actually work, because you have to like retreat them and then use the other attack the next turn in order for it to work. But I tend to like decks that have those little gimmicks.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. Plus I just love the Pikachu card. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. and those are 2 pretty fun sort of Pikachu clones. I mean, I'm a big fan of Dedenne and his design as well.
Yes, I love Dedenne.
Yeah.
And I love Morpeko.
Yeah. And
so
Togedemaru is kind of like the odd one out in there. Like, he's a Pikachu clone, but he's also like the ugliest one.
He's definitely not the best one.
And they chose the right Morpeko too. They chose the dark Morpeko, so that
is good.
Yeah, so
I like dark Morpeko.
Yeah.
And then, babe, you're gonna have to help me out with this name because I didn't.
Oh, the Dredagon?
Yeah. What?
The Dredagon?
Dredagon.
Yeah.
I think that trainer gallery card is super cute. I love that he's a dragon and he's just sleeping.
With her reading a book.
With her reading a book. Yeah. I love it.
I love when they're just like existing in the world. They're not like fighting.
Yeah.
Or is she reading a book? What? I'm gonna look it up real quick. What she's doing.
I think I think she's reading something, or just chilling. I don't know. The only reason that's in my number 4 slot is because I just think it's such a cute card.
Yeah. I love that you like that Pokemon. That's a great Pokemon to like, because that is definitely not a usual answer. I think that answer is really niche and a lot more specific than like his Lucario or my Gardevoir, because let's face it, they're both pretty common as well. They're not quite Pikachu, but
she's reading a map. They're on an adventure in a Dragon Ball Z cliff territory. It looks like Dragon Ball Z. I'm not even joking.
And it's a dragon.
Yeah. So
dragon card. Awesome. Yep. I love it. I think it's such a good card.
Yep.
The style of art is cool. I love the colors of
Yeah.
of him.
And when was the last time we got a card for Judagon? Like, honestly.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't. Maybe there's been a couple and they've just been unremarkable, but I can't think of one.
Yeah. There's just not. I'm looking at a list of them. There's not a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Definitely not one of the Pokemon that they do a ton of.
Yeah. He's fun.
So, yeah, very cool.
He's very cool. And then number 5. So I kind of have this split a little bit because I wasn't completely dedicated to either one. But as Kyle like briefly mentioned earlier, I love Zekrom.
Mm-hmm.
Like probably my favorite card ever was the Pikachu Zekrom EX.
GX. No.
GX.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one you like the most is the promo from.
It's when the one where Pikachu is riding on the back on Zekrom's back. I love
that
card.
Mm-hmm.
That is like I love that card.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Zekrom. So I have Reshiram as my 5th because
honorary.
He's honorary. You're the closest I can get to Zekrom.
I mean, I think the card is cool, and I think the art's really pretty. It has some potential to it. I think if you try to pair that with the Rapidash from this set that really powers up the fire types,
yeah, that's
I think
true.
there could be some potential there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I could see myself putting him in a deck because of his attack, but I don't know if I would put that as my main attacker either. Like,
right.
He's more like, here, get your use this as a starter, and try to get your other fire Pokemon that's a little bit more hype. Started up.
Just a 1 or 2 it sort of include just I mean, I usually have like a backup Pokemon like that or 1 or 2 in the deck that just is there to sort of attack while you're building your main attacker.
Right. Yeah. And then so that split with I love the Altaria card.
Mm-hmm.
I love that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the regular card and the Trader Gallery card are both pretty cool in their own right. And I think that they're cute, but I also like the potential for playability in a DLC deck.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could do something.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that idea. Anyway, and so I also had like the Lugia alt art as like it can't be part of my list because it's on everyone's list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think everybody's ready to pull that, but I mean, if you're Kyle, you're looking to pull it to keep it. If you're me, I'm looking to pull it so that I can get like half my money for my case back.
Yeah. There's that.
True.
That's an awesome list, Brecklin. A lot of things I think most other people wouldn't put on there, and that's really awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle, let's hear yours. Let's see if they're as good as that. I mean, I think I know what's going to be on the top of your list, and so yeah, I'm going to judge you for
it.
Wait.
Okay. Now I want to hear what you think is my most hyped card.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be that Lugia V-Star.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm basic. I'm building the deck. I'm super hyped on it, and so yeah, we'll just get that out of the way. Lugia V-Star, fantastic card. I love what it does for colorless Pokemon. Because who knows what comes down the line. It's V-Star power to bring 2 colorless Pokemon out of the discard. Like, right now that pairs really well with Archeops, which is the next card on my list.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to get to why. It's a little bit different why I like Archeops a lot on this set too.
One thing that's actually pretty good is if you pair that with Dunsparce. If we start seeing like an uptick in electric decks because of countering Lugia, you just pick out Dunsparce if you're playing against something electric,
right?
And that's over.
You just have access to them. It's so right. And so like with when it comes to Archeops, the reason why I really like him is because it's not often you see a fossil Pokemon actually make it into a mainstream deck, and I think that's really cool. Fossil Pokemon are notoriously really hard to play because the fossil isn't usually searchable with Quick Ball. Well, it's not searchable with Quick Ball. It's not usually searchable in general. There's been a few cards. There's been a few cards that have been printed to help search them, but they're not in standard right now.
Well, even at that, like because it's a fossil, it goes from being a stage 1 Pokemon to being a stage 2 Pokemon.
Right. And
one of the hardest things about the TCG as it exists right now is that stage 2 Pokemon are almost completely unviable.
Yep.
You can see a really great ability, but if it's on a stage 2, it's hard to work with.
Yep. And so like him pairing with Lugia really makes sense because you can discard him with Quick Ball, discard him with Ultra. Like the prime example is you draw 2, you get 2 in your hand, you discard them with Ultra Ball to get your Lugia V-Star, Lugia V-Star power, get the Archeops back, accelerate onto Lugia V-Star, and then you attack. Like that's the dream, right?
Your turn 2, ready to roll.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, you just kind of draw cards to keep up with the game. You don't need to get any more cards, you know?
Yeah.
So that duo is really good. Moving on to what I think are more like flavorful and interesting cards to me. I really like what Reggie Drago's doing, not just because I think he's going to be good, because we've already seen some people make some really solid lists out of that. But I can't think of the last time where you can have that many different Pokemon in your deck and it works like that. Just to like, yeah, it's a dragon Pokemon, throw it in there. Put one of them in your deck, might as well, you know. And then they all get seen and they all get used in your game somehow. And I think that's super cool. And it could be a stage 2 Dragonite. It could be Garchomp that has a really cool attack, but its energy cost was too much. Oh well, now you're using Reggie Drago's energy cost, so it's way easier. So it just makes a lot of sense to as to why you'd want to like just have fun with that deck. And plus,
I think it's actually a slightly better Mewtwo Mew. Because Mewtwo Mew had to have the energy cost of the Pokemon they were copying.
Right.
Reggie Drago just needs his energy cost.
Yeah. And who doesn't like a freaking red ball with a dragon skull around it? I mean, his design is sick. Like, I love it. Okay, but then so these two I think are going to be definitely ones that people may not have on their list as necessarily. Unknown V. There's so much, like, it's just like so satisfying that Unknown V is also Unknown V. Like, it's the V unknown. And I was worried that they weren't going to do it, you know, but they did it, and that's really satisfying. But also that alt art, that's beautiful. Beautiful alt art. It takes me back to the Pokemon movie 3. Like, I'm right back in that seat in the theater again, learning about Entei and the unknown, you know. So it takes me back. And then I think my last card here is the Earthen Sealstone. Very powerful card that is going to change the format and change the way you think about deck building. When now all your Pokemon V can be suddenly dropped down to 100. One deck I'm building right now, it's like right next on the priority list right after I finish Lugia, but it's Urshifu VMAX with that Earthen Sealstone. So the idea is that you bring them all down to 120. Oh, you had 2 VMAXs on the board. Now they're 120. Now I Gmax Rapid Flow. GG, good game. I'm done by turn 3. You know, like it's really hype. You know.
Yeah.
So I think that was. If I'm going to say something, I feel like it might have been an oversight to allow VMAXs to have that. It should have been just V or like non-rule box Pokemon to have that. But at the same time, it's a V star power. So
well, I mean, I don't think it's wrong necessarily to give them. I think it should have been on a V or a V star and not a V max.
Right.
Because I think kind of the exchange was V stars are going to have lower HP, but they also have this really cool ability.
Right.
Instead, what they're doing is they're like, well, V maxes have the over 300 HP, and they're going to get the benefits the V stars have with this extra item.
Yep. Another one that I've seen people talk about is Jolteon VMAX. Is same idea though. Like you knock 200, you knock 2 Pokemon out, perfect 100 damage. You know. One that came to my mind earlier today is Galarian Darmanitan. You know, Blastoise VMAX. You know, like all these decks that do spread damage. That would be really fun. So
I mean, I think we've largely exited the bench damage era that we had going on. But this card kind of just brings it roaring back. I mean, just in a big way. I mean, like, I'm sure there's going to be Rapid Strike Urshifu decks that are going to play this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be really rude because they're going to be sniping all my Kirlias and we're going to be upset about it.
And then Radiant Greninja. Pair with a Zigzagoon, you got it, right? Because Radiant Greninja does 90, right? Not 120.
He does 90.
So ping it with a Zigzagoon and you're done.
Oh, brutal.
That's so.
Or you can Radiant Alakazam, move 2 damage counters to your opponent's Pokemon any way you like, and then Radiant Great Ninja. You know.
Yeah. No, those are definitely great cards.
Yeah.
I could put that with my Deoxys because I think the VMAX for that one also does 60 damage to one of the bench Pokemon.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be sick.
Yeah. All right, so I think that was a good list, and definitely, maybe not as cool as Brecklin's, but
Right. I'm basic. What can I say?
A little more basic, laying out the strategies from this set, basically.
Yeah. Welcome to Silver Tempest. These are the main cards that everyone's hyped about.
Yeah. Well, hey, at least you can rely on you for that, because my list is also pretty much not that. So
yeah. Okay. Good. I'm glad that we got two fine folks that can help bolster up the list.
It's okay. You can be basic, Kyle. We still love you.
Welcome to the Basic Energy Podcast.
Oh my god.
All right, so we'll go ahead and go with my top 5. So my number 1 is actually Superior V-Star.
Okay.
I always have liked the grass typing in the TCG because it's a lot of energy, acceleration, and healing. And those are things I like, but they just never quite give us the card to make that really viable. And I feel like Superior kind of does what grass decks do really well. Because his first ability moves all the energy around in any way you want, so it can set up for those tons of grass cards that deal damage based on the amount of energy they have on them. You got your Alolan Executor V, those kinds of things. And I've always liked Superior, and I think this card just really displays how cool it looks. The V-Star just looks really cool.
That is not something I agree with. I hate Superior's design. I think it's a snake, but then Psyduck is just a duck, so I have no room to talk.
Yeah, it's a really regal snake. Okay?
Yeah, I'm a snake.
I kind of like. I think the thing I kind of like about his card design is that it's kind of coming down on the card.
Yeah,
and so it has a little bit more of a swooping motion on it than sort of standing there.
And my brain goes to the trainer gallery that makes it. It does make it look just. I mean, it's Gloria in there with her, right?
Yeah.
So those two together is really cool to see. So
yeah, specifically my favorite one is the gold Superior.
Oh yeah,
which actually I traded from you the other day, which is super awesome. Because if I happen to pull another one in my case, then bam, I can play it in my deck and play it.
Nice.
So
that's what I love too. It's like you're not afraid to just take max rarity and put it in your deck and be like,
oh yeah.
You guys put these in
if I'm going to keep it, why am I not going to play it? That's the only time because if you just put it in the binder, you're not going to see it as often as if it's a deck you play.
So this is something that I picked up at regionals that I'm going to start implementing with with my favorite deck, whatever it may be at the time. But I was playing someone at a side event at regionals, and they had a deck, and it was Giratina, and they were like half max rarity, half not. Another guy at the table was like, "Oh, like, do you do max rarity? Because like some of your cards aren't like the max rarity." He's like, "No." So what I do is at league events and at regionals, I upgrade the rarity of one card for every win that deck gets.
Yeah,
I love that.
I'm gonna start doing that because that's why, like it's gonna be really annoying once if this Lugia deck takes off, goes to the moon, because then I'm playing with like a $1,300 deck, and that's gonna be obnoxious.
I tell you what, I'll do that with my Superior deck. You do that with your Lugia deck. I think I'm gonna be a little bit more okay financially.
I'll build up all the trainers, and then I'll go to Lugia.
Yeah.
Serena. The Serena is also money too, like the full art and the rainbow rare Serena.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. And we'll get to her because she's actually on my list as well.
Oh, good, because I wanted to put her on my list, but I didn't.
Yeah. so my number 2 is the Kirlia in the set, specifically because I think Gardevoir having that exact same ability makes it a little less valuable than the Kirlia. I like when stage 1 Pokemon have something really cool about them. Mm-hmm. And I think going from Ralts to Kirlia is a very cool setup, and it's definitely going to be one of the newer draw engines that happens.
Yeah,
it's going to be a draw engine like almost every deck of mine because it's the Ralts line, and I just love them. And it's a great card. And I think you pair that with the Gardevoir with the Arcana ability, the Shining Arcana. Because that lets you take 2 energy from your 2 cards from the top of your deck. If it's energy, just attach them. And so it continues that draw engine while also being an energy attachment.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay, yeah, I had to remind myself on what that card did, but yeah,
It's from I believe it's actually from Revolving Skies, right?
Chilling Rain.
Oh, Chilling Rain, yeah. It's from Chilling Rain. It's Shining Arcana. Basically, you look at the top 2 cards of your deck. If there's energy, you attach them any way you like, and then you put the rest of the cards in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
and it's not
specific
either. So that's
and I think this Kirlia is the best example of like a really good card that doesn't even need to become Gardevoir, but still accomplishes the same goal.
Yeah. Well, and it's on like it's good design consistency because it's like the same wording as Make Do, right? Chinchina did the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's a stage 1. So it makes sense. And so like, yeah, it would make sense why you'd probably prefer to evolve into a different Gardevoir to get a different ability. I personally think I would choose like maybe 1-1, kind of like how people run Shady Dealings Inteleon with Quick Shooting Inteleon. Like what does this specific matchup need? Do I need more refinement, or can I go for more energy attachment? You know, so
I think sort of the big difference between those two things though is that like the Greninja added a different thing onto it wasn't the exact same ability.
Oh, the Inteleon.
Yeah, the Inteleon like slightly improved over what.
It was 2 trainer cards instead of the 1.
Right, where the Gardevoir, the mistake that they made was they made it the exact same.
Yeah, true.
Where I can see that working in like a gym leader challenge deck though.
Yeah,
like
There's certainly those scenarios like I've heard a few times where you use the ability, then you evolve it, and you get to use the ability again.
Yeah,
right.
But that feels a little more niche than filling up those slots is worth.
Right. No, I totally, I'm with you. Like it's definitely it's like it's a choice that someone's gonna have to make if they're building. And I think your play is the right one. I think like getting that different ability is going to be key. So
I just really like the Kirlia card too. I think its design is really, really cute, and I've always liked Kirlia, and her getting a little bit more spotlight in a deck is never a problem in my opinion.
Right.
So my number 3 is a card that I plan on playing along with Superior, and probably on no one else's list in the world. In fact, most people probably pull this V and immediately throw it aside, and that's Chestnut V.
The definition of bulk V.
Yes, and I love it. I love Chestnut, and he definitely is like the third rate in terms of basically everything. Starters from X and Y.
Like, who gives him the right to be a starter evolution? Who gave him that right?
Yeah, but I've always liked his design. I always think he's a really cool Pokemon that doesn't get enough of a spotlight, and I think this card does some really cool stuff. It's with the Superior, you have free retreat, so you just retreat into this Pokemon that your opponents are going to have a harder time wanting to attack into because they're taking damage to do it. And so it does a lot of random math fixing for Pokemon that don't quite do enough damage to KO something. You like Superior does 190 and then switches to the bench. So bringing up Chestnut V is great because now are you going to take another 30 damage and possibly knock out your V? I think it does a lot of really cool things with Superior, and a V for a Pokemon that maybe doesn't get a lot of love, especially when compared to Greninja. So my number 4 is Serena, specifically that Full Art Serena.
Nice choice.
Yeah, she's probably still my favorite character from the anime.
Yeah,
she's probably the closest thing to like Ash has had female companions over the years, and she's the closest one I think to ever being like a really good match for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish she would have stuck around in the anime.
Yep.
You could have easily just carried her on. And the card is just really good.
Yeah. It's like, it's nice to have that option because of what it does. You can do one of two things.
Yeah.
And so like for right now, if it can do its main, or what I think is its main shtick, like its main usage, or it can be boss's orders,
Right.
So that gusting option is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think there should be more trainer cards that have options because this can be one of two things depending on what you need in that game state.
Yeah.
If you need a draw supporter, she's there for you. If you need a gusting effect, she's there for you.
She's there for us.
She's there for you. I also think she has a really good chance of being the highest priced full art supporter in the English TCG.
I think she is doing that in Japan already too. Like she's insanely priced.
She's like hundreds of dollars in Japan.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Like in September, it was like it was 30,000 yen, so almost $300. So
yeah. Well, they like their full art supporters a lot more than we do, though.
True, they're a secret rare over there, right?
Yeah. So like here in the modern era, anyway, or even close to, the most expensive full art trainer is Boss's Orders, the Giovanni one.
Okay,
and it sits around $40. So the chances of Serena being higher than that are likely.
Let's see where TCG Player has her at $79 right now.
Yeah.
So.
And I actually don't imagine her coming down a lot because I haven't seen a lot of them pulled either.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think we pulled one. So we got a rainbow rare of her, which is great. But let's be honest, the full arts are better.
Yeah, I don't know why they continue to do rainbow rare trainers.
I want them to do. I want the rainbow foiling to stick around. But have you seen Flesh and Blood's foiling process?
No.
So Flesh and Blood has two kinds of foiling. They have cold foil, which is kind of your traditional like silvery, like shiny foiling process, right? But then they have rainbow foil, where the foiling line is like all rainbow, with its shine, which we kind of see. Like I was looking at the trainer gallery today, and like the foiling, the detail lines are like a rainbow outline. But then you look at like they showed it off really well in the Lucario EX. Well, a couple of the EX. For Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look them up right now so I can show Brecklin while she's right next to me, and then maybe you can pull up on the screen. But there is like a rainbow pattern in that foiling too.
Yeah.
So what I hope is that my biggest problem with rainbow rares is that this artist poured their heart and soul into making this beautiful masterpiece, and then you're just gonna take all that away and put like colors on it. Like
it just kind of washes out the color of it.
Yeah, and so what I hope is that maybe they just emphasize the foiling more. But who knows? Kids also just love rainbows, like, and so that you can't take that away, you know. Like
I actually think they've done a good job with the Pokemon now. Like the V-Star rainbows look really cool, and I'm actually on board with those. But the trainers specifically, it just never looks great.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
But so Serena would be my number 4, and then my number 5 is Radiant Alakazam.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's a pretty card, very pretty. Like the purple pops so well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think just the ability to move 2 damage counters every turn, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it can really add up.
Yeah.
You know, you almost knock out someone's V-Star, they retreat it into their next prepared V-Star. You can say, well, I'm going to keep piling damage on that anyway.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of really cool uses for that we're going to see coming up.
Yeah, and I've heard this argument, which I kind of want to speak to because I know there might be someone who's watching that might say this, but like, why not just put the energy on the right place the first time? And to that I say, well, your opponent is also playing the game with you. Yeah. They have choices that are going to mess your game up too. Yeah. This is a good way to mitigate that, I think. So
one of the things you're always doing in a Pokemon game is trying to preserve your own resources, which means like retreating things when they're damaged, but you have your next thing ready on the bench, or you have your bench sitters that are there to start help you get ready.
Like a technique that I was talking about with another person in our local community was talking about the new Crobat from Silver Tempest with Radiant Alakazam. Because then you could like surprise knockout someone and then get 2 extra prize cards with that attack from Crobat. So it's just like I love this. Like you do more than I do, but I love the sneaky like big brain plays.
Yeah.
I'm so much like attach energy, hit.
Meanie ball, man. Meanie ball.
Yeah. But she's over here, like her Dark Sylveon deck will like wreck a lot of people and take them by surprise because they're like, "Oh, Dark Sylveon, I got this." Meanwhile, she swaps out for Libra, or she does Libra Horn with the Galarian Rapidash,
down
to 100, and then and all of a sudden she swaps out for the Dark Sylveon, knocks you out, and you're like, where did that come from?
I need to play this deck because I wanted to use the Dark Sylveon card in some way, but I just could never quite find the right combo. So we're gonna have to play with that deck on Tuesday because
that is probably one of my favorite decks.
Yeah.
It's so fun, and even if you can't like do a whole lot, oh gosh, now I'm not remembering which this is attached to. Can't remember if it's Dark Sylveon or Rapidash, but you can even if you can't necessarily get the full knockout, you can confuse them, which can delay the game.
Yep.
And
then your
really
ribbon
mess them up.
And then someone knocks out your Dark Sylveon, but because you had the ribbon on a Sylveon V card, they take one less prize card. So it's just like so good. The early Sword and Shield era had a lot of sleepers that I think people didn't give enough attention to. Blastoise VMAX is one of them. What I played a lot of, and I love that card because it's so good. But nobody played it because it was in a promo box only, you know. So and that's how a lot of our decks end up being is like, oh, this new card's like Deoxys. Let's buy 3 of those boxes and build a deck, you know.
One of my favorite sort of sleepers that no one really talks about is the Galarian Slowking V.
Oh yeah.
And VMAX. The amount of poison damage that thing dropped, like people discount poison because you can switch out, but you're still dealing them damage and forcing them to switch out.
Yeah. And anything you
do,
when
you're putting 12 damage counters on between turns.
Yeah.
You're putting 12 damage counters on between turns.
Yep. That's good.
That's insane.
So good.
So that was one of my sort of sleeper cards, but that's my top 5 list. I really think this set produced a lot of cards that are going to be, as you said, sleeper hits that people aren't going to think of.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that this set does a lot for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It changes a lot of things, and not just in standard form. There's a lot of cards that cater to extended, that cater to gym leader challenge decks,
like the new Whale Lord.
Like seriously, there's so many different possibilities that you can use within these sets, within this set specifically. It's so nice, and especially with the changes in the format coming out recently, it's like they actually took that into account and decided, okay, so I don't know. That's just how it feels to me.
No, I agree. I'm gonna add something to that to take it one step further. Pokemon is in full de-escalation mode. I feel like.
Oh yeah.
The power creep. I feel like it's finally getting to the people who are creating the game. They're finally understanding what a lot of us have been talking about for years. And not that we're opposed to like big, strong, powerful cards. We like that. But when you have over 300 HP on a Pokemon that's going to one-hit knock out almost everything else, you know, it adds for a very fast game that takes we've talked about it in person, but like the core principles of Pokemon is evolution.
Yeah.
So if you have a basic Pokemon or a stage 1 Pokemon that is doing better than a stage 2 can, like why is it still Pokemon? So I feel like both item cards, like look at Twin Energy becoming double Turbo Energy.
Yeah.
You know, like making it it does attach, but now you do less damage.
Right.
So we're seeing VMAX to V Star, and now we're going to go into an era where EX and evolution matters again. And I can't wait to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that it also oh gosh. I just like lost my train of thought. No.
It was the manager in the background.
Oh
yeah,
no.
my son just appeared behind it. He's from time to time.
He's my manager, so
Oh.
he's telling me
he's the manager of the store, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's telling me I better get back to work.
Yeah. All right. Well, episode's running a little bit long, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. But overall, I would like out of 10, I'd give Silver Tempest like a 9. I think it's a really great set with a lot of really fun cards that are gonna. I wouldn't say most of them are like heads of decks, but they're gonna be cards that are really going to enhance decks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the obvious exception of Lugia.
Which is why it's his favorite.
Yeah.
No,
keep in mind he's basic.
Things are basic. Things are basic for a reason. They're basic for a reason because they're really, really good.
You married a basic energy. I'm just a lowly, colorless basic energy.
There's a lot you can,
Hey, basic energies are at the core of every deck. Okay, everybody needs them.
No.
Yeah, now one of you is sleeping on the couch. I'm not sure who now.
Yeah. Next podcast will be in different rooms. Like, all right, so Jeremy, you're gonna have to play Owl here. You're gonna have to.
All right. Anything else you guys would like to say about Silver Tempest or anything we talked about today before we get out of here?
No, we covered it thoroughly. It was a lot of fun, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was a blast.
All right. Very, very cool. I look forward to doing many more episodes with you guys. Like I said, hopefully this can be a first edition Charizard and not a Rattata. But I guess time will tell, right?
Yes.
For anybody who watched or listened to this episode, you'll be able to find us on YouTube. We'll be set up on all of your favorite podcasting platforms for audio. So however you found us, thank you so much. Please check out these lovely people doing all of their card pack openings on the same channel if this is the first video you found here. And hopefully we'll see you guys in 2 weeks when we release another episode. And until then, please keep it shiny out there. And we'll see you next time.
Happy catching.